Let's be honest, there are moments when it feels like the world is stacked against you. A toxic workplace, a social circle where you don't belong, a family that treats your ambition like a threat. They tell you to be yourself, to rise above. But what if the game is rigged? What if playing fair is just another way to lose? Here's the truth no one admits. Sometimes you're not just outnumbered. You're outgunned, outmaneuvered, out of options. And that's when the game gets interesting. History's most cunning survivors, like Niccolo Machiavelli, didn't win by following the rules. They won by rewriting them. Today, I'm handing you the forbidden playbook. No soft advice, no feel-good lies. Just strategy. Ready to learn what they never teach you? Let's begin. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fit in, terrified of being labeled an outsider. We're taught from childhood that belonging is everything, that safety, success, and happiness come from being accepted by the group. But what if I told you that being on the outside isn't a curse, but a hidden advantage? Machiavelli understood something most people never realize. When you're not part of the herd, you're free to see the game for what it really is. Think about it. When you're on the inside, you're blinded by loyalty, groupthink, and the pressure to conform. You become invested in the group's rules, its politics, its unspoken codes. But the outsider is invisible, underestimated, and unburdened by the need to please anyone. You can observe without being observed. You can analyze the power dynamics, spot the alliances and rivalries, and see the cracks in the foundation that insiders are too close to notice. This is the first Machiavellian secret. Use your outsider status as a weapon. Instead of wasting energy trying to win approval, channel it into strategic observation. Watch how people move, who they trust, who they fear. Notice the subtle cues, the nervous glances, the forced laughter, the moments when someone's mask slips. Outsiders have the unique ability to see the truth beneath the surface because they're not blinded by the need to belong. And here's the real twist. The more you embrace your outsider status, the more unpredictable you become. Insiders expect you to play by their rules, to beg for acceptance, to shrink yourself to fit in. But when you stop caring about their approval, you become a wild card, someone they can't control, can't predict, and can't easily dismiss. That unpredictability is power. So, the next time you feel isolated or outnumbered, remember, you're not powerless. You're in the perfect position to observe, adapt, and strike where it hurts most. The outsider sees what the insiders can't, and that vision is your first step to turning the tables. But observation is only the beginning. Once you've learned to see the game from the outside, the next move is to master the art of deception. Because in a world where everyone is against you, honesty is a luxury you can't always afford. If you've ever been told that honesty is always the best policy, you've been handed a rulebook designed to keep you predictable and powerless. In reality, when you're surrounded by opposition, playing your cards openly is the fastest way to lose. Machiavelli knew that the world isn't run by the honest, but by the cunning. Deception isn't about being evil. It's about survival. It's about creating options when you have none, and keeping your enemies guessing when they think they have you cornered. Let's break the illusion. In hostile environments, the truth is a weapon best kept sheathed. The most successful outcasts in history didn't announce their intentions. They used misdirection, false alliances, and carefully crafted lies to confuse and divide their enemies. When everyone is watching you, waiting for you to slip, the last thing you want is to show your real hand. Instead, you become a master of masks, projecting what others expect to see, while quietly working toward your own agenda. Think of deception as a chess game. Every move you make should serve a purpose, even if it's just to distract your opponent from your real strategy. Maybe you let them believe you're weaker than you are, or that you're chasing a goal you don't actually care about. You might even form temporary alliances with people you have no intention of trusting long-term, just to keep your enemies off balance. The key is to never let anyone see your true intentions until it's too late for them to stop you. This isn't about becoming a compulsive liar or betraying your core values. It's about understanding that, in a world stacked against you, transparency is a luxury you can't afford. You must learn to operate in the shadows, to use information as both shield and sword. The more unpredictable and unreadable you become, the harder it is for anyone to unite against you. So, ask yourself, are you willing to bend the truth to protect your interests? Are you ready to use deception as a tool, not a crutch? Because when you master this art, you stop being a target and start becoming a threat. Once you've sown confusion and kept your enemies guessing, it's time to quietly build your own power base, right under their noses, while they're still trying to figure out your next move. While your enemies are busy chasing shadows and second-guessing your every move, you have a rare opportunity, one that most people overlook. This is the moment to quietly build your own power base, away from the spotlight and out of reach of those who would tear you down. Machiavelli understood that true power is rarely loud or obvious. The most dangerous players are the ones you never see coming until it's too late. Forget the myth that power must be flaunted to be real. In fact, the more visible your ambitions, the more vulnerable you become. When you're outnumbered, the last thing you want is to draw attention to your plans. Instead, operate in the background. Forge alliances with those who are overlooked or underestimated. Gather resources, information, and leverage in places no one is watching. The shadows are your sanctuary, your laboratory, your armory. This is where patience becomes your greatest weapon. While others rush to claim credit or make noise, you're quietly stacking advantages. Maybe it's building relationships with people who have access to key information. Maybe it's learning skills that make you indispensable, or collecting favors that can be called in when the time is right. Every move is calculated. Every connection is strategic. You're not just surviving, you're setting the stage for a comeback no one will see coming. And here's the hidden truth. The longer you remain underestimated, the more powerful you become. People ignore what they don't fear. They dismiss what they don't understand. Use that to your advantage. Let them think you're harmless, distracted, or defeated. All the while, you're quietly amassing the tools you'll need to turn the tables. Building power in the shadows isn't about isolation. It's about selective visibility. You choose when to reveal your strength, and to whom. You decide which battles are worth fighting, and which are better won, without anyone knowing you were even involved. This is the Machiavellian way, to become a force that shapes outcomes from behind the scenes. But even the most carefully built power base is useless if you never use it. Once you've gathered your resources and allies, the next step is to shift from defense to offense, to strike with precision and force when your enemies least expect it. Most people, when they're outnumbered, retreat into a defensive shell. They play it safe, hoping to weather the storm and avoid drawing more fire. But here's the Machiavellian truth. If you're always on the defensive, you're already losing. Defense is about survival, but offense is about control. The moment you stop reacting and start dictating the terms, the entire game changes. Turning defense into offense doesn't mean charging blindly into battle. It means waiting for the perfect moment, when your enemies are overconfident, distracted, or divided, and then striking with precision. This is psychological warfare at its finest. You use surprise as your weapon, hitting where it hurts most, and forcing your opponents to scramble. Suddenly the hunted becomes the hunter. Think about the power of unpredictability. When you're always on the back foot, your enemies know what to expect. But when you flip the script, when you launch a bold move no one saw coming, you shatter their sense of control. Maybe it's exposing a rival's secret at just the right moment, or seizing an opportunity they thought was theirs. Maybe it's simply refusing to play the victim, and instead, making a move so audacious that it forces everyone to reconsider who really holds the power. This is where all your preparation in the shadows pays off. You're not acting out of desperation, you're executing a plan. Every resource you've gathered, every alliance you've forged, is now a weapon in your arsenal. The key is to act decisively. Hesitation is fatal. When the moment comes, you must commit fully, knowing that the shock and momentum will carry you further than brute force ever could. And here's the secret most people miss. Offense isn't just about attacking others. It's about seizing control of the narrative, the tempo, and the energy of the situation. When you act, you force others to react. You become the center of gravity, pulling the attention and decisions of everyone around you. That's real power. But offense is risky, unless you know how to control the story that follows. Because after you make your move, the way people perceive it can be just as important as the move itself. That's why the next step is to master the art of controlling the narrative, ensuring your actions are seen in the light you choose. In any conflict, perception is reality. It doesn't matter what actually happened. What matters is what people believe happened. This is the battlefield most people ignore, but Machiavellian minds know it's where true power is won or lost. If you don't control the narrative, someone else will, and they'll use it to turn the crowd against you. That's why, after you've made your move, your next priority is to shape the story that everyone else will tell. Controlling the narrative isn't about lying outright. It's about framing events in a way that serves your interests. It's about being the first to speak, the loudest voice in the room, and the one who provides the explanation that others latch onto. When you act boldly, people will talk. Your job is to give them the version of events that makes you look strong, strategic, and if possible, inevitable. If you don't, your enemies will fill the silence with their own version, painting you as reckless, desperate, or dangerous. This is where subtlety and timing matter. Sometimes, you need to leak information strategically, letting rumors do the work for you. Other times, you need to step forward and own your actions, projecting confidence and control. The key is to never let yourself be put on the defensive. If you're explaining, you're losing. Instead, make bold statements, set the agenda, and force others to respond to your version of reality. Remember, people crave certainty. In chaotic situations, they look for someone who seems to know what's going on. If you can provide that certainty, even if it's just an illusion, you'll attract followers, neutralize critics, and isolate your enemies. This is how you turn a risky move into a legend, and a setback into a comeback story. But controlling the narrative isn't just about protecting yourself. It's also about going on the offensive, using stories, rumors, and perceptions to weaken your opponents. Expose their flaws, question their motives, and plant seeds of doubt. The more you shape what people believe, the less power your enemies have over you. Now, with the narrative in your hands, you're ready for the next Machiavellian move, exploiting your enemies' weaknesses without mercy, and using every crack in their armor to your advantage. This is where the game turns truly Machiavellian. Most people are taught to play fair, to show mercy, to give their enemies the benefit of the doubt. But when you're outnumbered and the stakes are survival, mercy is a luxury you can't afford. Machiavelli himself wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. The reason? Fear exposes weaknesses, and weaknesses are opportunities. Every person, every group, every system has cracks. Emotional, social, or strategic. Your job is to find them. Maybe it's a rival's insecurity, a hidden grudge between your opponents, or a blind spot in their plans. The mainstream will tell you to ignore these flaws, to take the high road. But the high road is lonely, and it rarely leads to victory when you're fighting for your place in the world. Start by observing closely. Listen for the things people don't say, the topics they avoid, the moments when their confidence falters. Watch for alliances that seem shaky, for leaders who are losing control, for followers who are secretly dissatisfied. These are the pressure points you can press. Sometimes it's as simple as planting a seed of doubt, or quietly encouraging a rivalry to flare up. Other times, it means exposing a secret at the perfect moment or using someone's own ambition against them. Exploiting weaknesses isn't about cruelty, it's about strategy. You're not out to destroy for the sake of destruction. You're out to survive, to win, to claim your place. When you act without mercy, you send a message. You are not to be underestimated. You become the player others fear to cross, the one who turns every disadvantage into a weapon. And here's the hidden truth. The more you exploit weaknesses, the more you force your enemies to make mistakes. Under pressure, people reveal their true selves. They panic, they turn on each other, they make desperate moves. That's when you strike hardest, consolidating your gains while your opponents are still reeling. But victory isn't just about defeating your enemies. It's about making sure you never end up outnumbered again. The final step is to secure your position, rewrite the rules, and ensure that next time, you're the one holding all the cards. Winning a battle is only half the game. The true Machiavellian doesn't just survive. They make sure the tables are permanently turned. Once you've outmaneuvered your enemies and exploited their weaknesses, it's time to secure your victory so you're never outnumbered again. This is where you shift from playing defense to becoming the architect of the new order. First, consolidate your power. Don't leave loose ends or allow old rivals to regroup. Strengthen your alliances with those who proved loyal or useful, and quietly distance yourself from anyone who hesitated or wavered. Reward those who supported you, but never forget who tried to undermine you. People remember how you treat them in victory, and your actions now will determine whether you rule through respect, fear, or both. Next, rewrite the rules to favor your position. This could mean changing the way decisions are made, setting new boundaries, or redefining what's acceptable within your circle or organization. The mainstream will tell you to forgive and forget, to return to normal. But normal is what left you vulnerable in the first place. Instead, create a new normal, one where your strengths are protected and your enemy's old tactics no longer work. Don't be afraid to reshape the narrative around your victory. Let people know, subtly or directly, that you're not the same person they once underestimated. Use your story as a warning and as inspiration. Show that you didn't just survive, you transformed the entire landscape. This is how legends are made, not by returning to the status quo, but by establishing a new order that others must adapt to. Finally, stay vigilant. Power attracts challenges, and the cycle of conflict never truly ends. The difference now is that you're no longer the outsider. You're the one setting the agenda. Keep your skills sharp, your alliances strong, and your eyes open for new threats and opportunities. The Machiavellian path is not about a single victory, but about building a legacy of dominance and resilience. Now, with your victory secured and the rules rewritten, you're ready to embrace the mindset that will keep you on top, no matter who stands against you. Let's bring all these strategies together and see what it really means to think and win like Machiavelli. You've just seen the forbidden playbook, the strategies that turn the tables when everyone is against you. Most people will never dare to use these tactics. They'll keep playing by the old rules, hoping for fairness in a world that rewards cunning. But you're not most people. You now know how to embrace the outsider advantage, master deception, build power in the shadows, strike with ruthless offense, control the narrative, exploit weaknesses, and secure your victory by rewriting the rules. The Machiavellian mindset isn't about being cruel for the sake of it. It's about refusing to be a victim, about using intelligence and strategy to claim your place in a world that doesn't hand out second chances. The choice is yours. Stay powerless, or become the architect of your own fate. If you're ready to win when everyone is against you, drop a Machiavellian in the comments. Share your own stories of turning the odds in your favor. And let's build a community of thinkers who refuse to be outplayed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more dark psychology and power dynamic secrets. Will you dare to win, or will you let the world decide your fate? The next move is yours. Thanks for watching.